Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to learn how to create our own image from our own configurations. So before you create an image, you need to have a base image. So which depends on your requirements. Today I'm going to use Apache Webserver, and CentOS is a bit handy for that purpose. So I am going to use CentOS, but really it depends on what you want to do. And you build your configuration on top of these images, and you create a container from it, and from that container you create an image. That's the process, but we are going to try to do something useful from these steps, right? So Apache web server, if you don't know, is a web server. Obviously it helps you put out your HTML code as a website in a more visual way, so your browser can see the output of those HTML files that you've created, essentially creating a website. That's the easiest way to say it. So once you have CentOS, we are going to run a command to start this container, and we are going to call this, we're calling the container web server. And once it's there, you can exec into it. We want to interact with it. And we are inside that web server, right? Inside the container. So by default, these does not have the server installed. So we are going to install that first. Remember the steps. Obviously, it does not exist by default. Images contain only the most important features, so they don't include these. Once we have the web server, we want to put our own HTML code so we can see it, right? For these images, for CentOS, it's stored in variable.www/html. So in this directory, whatever HTML code you put, you can see it as a website. So that would be vim. Let's create a file and call it website.html. It has to be of .html extension. Name, you could give it anything. Okay, vim is not there by default, so we are going to install that as well. I could just use vi, but I'm trying to show something here. So website.html, and I'm just going to say anything. This is just a website. Mr. Terminal. It could be anything. I'm just creating a simple HTML code because that is not the purpose of this video. So it's there, right? Your HTML website is there. Now, if the web server is working, obviously you would be able to curl your local host, but it is failing. And of course, just to point out, we are inside the container. Because we have installed the web server, Apache web server, but we have not started it. Now, usual case of starting it, I mean, if you have normal Red Hat, it's systemctl httpd, but it's not going to work, and you are going to try service httpd start, and that's not going to work either. Big reason is these images are very small and they take out almost everything that is not needed as such, because we need it, but other people might not. It's not part of CentOS to say. So we have a different command for that, Apache CTL. It's Apache specific. You give the K flag and you tell it start. So now if you call your local host, it would be working, and if you call your local host and your file, you would see your HTML code as a website. So now that I have configured my own website, it is working inside the container. I want to make sure I can share this configuration with anyone in the world. Or even if it's not shared, I need this configuration and I need to utilize this later. For this purpose, we create an image. Now I have exited the container and I am in my localhost and the container is still running, obviously. For creating an image with our configuration, we use this container. Docker commit this container to our image, and image name could be anything. Let's say my web on CentOS. This is my image name. You can tag it whatever you want. I'm not tagging it, so by default it's latest. Commit my container to an image. That's it. Your image is now created. You can remove the container, you don't need it now. And let's clean up that container as well. So you don't have any container now, just to be clear. But you do have that configuration in this image. And what do? We are going to run, but not from this. We are going to run it from our image, just to be sure what our image name was. My CentOS, my web CentOS. So we are going to run not from CentOS, my web CentOS. We are going to run a container from this image. And just to be sure that we can see from our browser, you don't need to do this. But to make it more handy, we are going to expose our ports, configure our ports. Once that's done, you're ready. So our container is running. We did call it Webserver. And I want to just say Apache start the Webserver, because when you are containerizing things, it won't start. Its configuration is there, but it won't start. Now it started. Now if I go to my web browser, now it's already in cache. I did try it out once before sharing. So if I just do localhost my website.html. Oh, sorry, it was just website.html, right? Yeah, that's my website right there. So you can see it was just the basic code, and that's how easy it is. And the point of this video was not to show the web server. If you didn't understand the web server concept, it's perfectly fine. Point is, you created a configuration inside the container, and that was recreated without any effort because you created an image out of it. Now you can push this image to Docker Hub, and anyone in this world can use it and create a containers from it. The entire configuration is there, and Docker's community is great. You have images for almost everything you need. But of course, for an individual purpose, like in this case, the website would be different for everyone, right? So you still have to configure stuff. And in the next video, we are going to learn to do the same, but using scripts and Docker. It's called a Docker file. So we are going to learn how to create a Docker file, and we will understand the use cases of it once we do that. So see you in next video.